Hello and welcome back to the Meadowbank Thistle Podcast, your weekly instalment of the Meadowbank Thistle story. My name's Morgan Knock, and you might be wondering why this English guy is here talking about Meadowbank Thistle. That means you haven't listened to episode 1. If you're interested in hearing more about the project this podcast is part of, or you'd like to find out more about who I am, I'd really recommend going back to give that one a listen. It's only 14 minutes, won't take up all your day. This is episode 4, and it's an interview with Peter Godfrey. We're not going to have wall-to-wall interviews, and there will be some discussions coming up on various subjects relevant to the Meadowbank story. Keep an eye on our social channels to find out how you can get involved. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's got in touch with the project via social media and email. It's really encouraging that so many people are taking an interest in our work. If you're not yet connected, you can find us on X and Instagram at meadowbankthis, or email meadowbankthis@gmail.com. Finally, everyone who's followed us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I'm so grateful. I'm very much an amateur at this, so if you've got any questions or feedback, please do get in touch. Peter Godfrey joined Meadowbank Thistle in 1981 from Linlithgow Rose. He played in the first Meadowbank team to win promotion in 1982-83, and over 4 years he made 156 appearances in all competitions, scoring 16 goals. After starring in a series of cup games against St Mirren, he earned a £30,000 move to the Paisley club, and there he played over 200 games, mostly in the top flight of the Scottish leagues. A man nicknamed Basil for his memorable moustache then moved on to play for Falkirk, Arbroath and Stenhousemuir, before returning to Linlithgow, playing until he dropped for a number of junior sides. Short warning here that the audio quality may not be the best, as I spoke to Peter on his landline and had to record it a slightly different way to normal, but hopefully everything comes through okay. Hello, Peter Godfrey.
Hello, good evening.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
No problem.
So, I guess we'll start at the start. Can you talk to us about your childhood and your early experiences in football?
Well, I started early actually. I played with Castle Rovers when I was 9 now, and I was the biggest pitch in Scotland near enough, and I was outside left because they called me, my nickname was the Hare, and I just used to put the ball in the corner now, and my wee legs would just run for it. So I played with them, and I advanced, and I went to Gearduff, and that was a good team too. We done well in the Scottish Cup and got to a semi-final or something, and then I went played with Arbroath High Amateur, Falkirk High Amateur, and then Linlithgow Rose. That was my junior career.
Super. So that's where you started to get into the limelight and started to get noticed at Linlithgow.
Yeah, that's when I was a bit older, about 21, so playing amateur and that, and the junior for Sniffing, Bowness and Linlithgow, and actually signed. I had a game they were playing the cup final, and they invited me to play in the cup final as me or another trialist, because you had to play a trialist because I had so many injuries, and it was at the end of the season, and I got the nod to play. I scored 1 goal, made the other goal, and Linlithgow won the cup 2-0. So the next season it was between Linlithgow and Bowness to sign me, and I stuck with Linlithgow.
And so throughout your career in interviews, you said that your biggest influence was David Roy.
David Roy was good at Linlithgow, yes, aye. Because I actually, when I come back from my senior, I could have went all up in the bigger teams through in Glasgow. But because it was local, I stayed in Grangemouth, so it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the car, I just went back to Linlithgow. But David Roy it wasn't just David Roy, it was the club. It was immaculate, and you had all the people round about you, and always talked. A nice club to go into and get a pint after the game, and fans were great, so it's a good environment to play football with.
Fantastic. And were you ever courted by any of the bigger clubs at that time?
I heard the wee rumour Arbroath was interested in me then, but nothing came of it, so you just get your head down and play football, and if you couldn't transpire, fine, but at that time I was quite happy playing with Linlithgow, and obviously I got married and that too, so, and then you just settled down and just want to play football every Saturday. It was great.
Do you have ambitions of becoming a full-time footballer?
You can always wish and hopefully it comes through, so mine's actually came through, but so many players play football, get an injury and don't even play 2 or 3 years, so I was lucky, touch wood, I was lucky in life. When I was a couple of times I broke my leg when I played with Bathgate Junior, but I actually came back for that too, so you're lucky to draw, and who you're playing for and if the team's successful or not, because I wouldn't like to play with a team that was getting beat every week. It'd be demoralising, eh? But luckily, the teams I played with were really good teams, eh?
Well, I mean, you speak about teams that were getting beat every week. At the time you came along to Meadowbank, but that really was the case.
Well, they were a weird team, and I didn't really know much about them either, eh? But they wanted to sign me. The manager was Terry Christie, excellent manager for me. But when I signed with Meadowbank, I had been playing in midfield with Linlithgow, and Terry being Terry, met me and my wife in the corridor a night out, and he says, I'm going to make your husband a player, but he's not playing midfield, he's going to be a centre half. And put his word, oh man, I can only thank him for what done to me in my career.
So Terry told me the story of how him and Bill Mill came over to Linlithgow to watch you and to negotiate your transfer.
Yeah.
And this is in March 1981.
Terry being Terry, I just got a phone call, I think it was a Thursday or a Friday night, and he says to me, I want to sign you. I says, right, no problem. The rest was history.
So you're 23, you're joining a senior club for the first time.
Yep.
What, are you thinking this is the start of something big, or just seeing how it goes?
I think I would see how but the more you train, because you trained on Tuesday, Thursday, and then played on the Saturday, the more we played together, the more we got used to each other, and the signings were good. I had a good team, actually. So, obviously, we progressed as a team, and they've been down the bottom. We were in the middle of the league, and that was because we all worked hard, and hopefully you could sign better players each year to make it a better team.
Thinking back to your first training session with Meadowbank, how are you feeling going in? Is there a bit of imposter syndrome? Like, am I really good enough?
Yep. You always think you're good enough, but you don't know till you train. And where we trained, it was like behind Meadowbank Stadium. It wasn't a good. It was a training place, but it was like so it wasn't that clever because obviously you couldn't, or you weren't allowed on the pitch to train on a Tuesday or a Thursday. Sometimes we did. We stayed by maybe to work on corners on a Thursday, but that they weren't allowed on the pitch for maybe half an hour or that. Because remember, it was a sports centre. Even on a Saturday, you had a thin locker in the dressing room. You had 16 players, managers, assistant manager. The boy gave you a rub, so it was quite tight in the dressing room. We got on with it. We liked the Meadowbank supporters too. They're quite close to you and wanted photographs and that way too, so it's fine.
Brilliant. So how did the facilities compare to what you'd had at Linlithgow?
Well, it was a tiny space, dressing room at Linlithgow, and you had a peg and everything to put your clothes on and all that. As I say, it was just a wee thin locker at Meadowbank, so the junior facilities were actually better. It was a sports complex. There was no dressing rooms. It's as if you were going swimming or whatever, it would be the same, eh?
Is there anybody who particularly helped you to settle in?
Well, I used to play with Walter Boyd, and I think you were close to your defender. Laurie Dunn was right back, Walter Boyd was centre back with me, and John Jobson, he was a big hit. Scored loads of goals. I knew about him before I'd went there, eh? And the thing I can remember about Meadowbank, behind one of the goals you had the big screen, and if you scored, your name come up in light. So John Jobson went on up in that screen quite a lot for us. So it was good and funny. But just played and we helped each other. We worked on things. We were a team that used to play offside. I know the rule now is absolutely rubbish. But when we played, if you put your hand up, you put the linesman under pressure. So
brilliant. And so you travelled in from Falkirk for the entire spell at the bank, right?
Say about the chairman's car, and sometimes what boys used to stay in Castorphin, so sometimes I picked him up to come to training. So give you a bit of company on the way. Bobby McKell, he was a goalkeeper, and he came from Cumbernauld, so he came to Cumbernauld to Grangemouth, and then the two of us would travel Tuesday, Thursday or Saturday to training with Bobby McKell too. But most of the boys were all Edinburgh based.
So at the end of that first season, I mean, Bobby McKell's one of the guys that moved on. He finished 12th in the league, which is respectable. Coming into the second season, 82-83, Jim McQueen. I mean, what are the indications going into that season? Did you feel like things were going to go?
You just want to improve. I wouldn't even know where we finished when I was there. So Tuesday we were 12. You just want to beat that. you're not going to be rock bottom. You want to win the league if you can win the league. And that's your mission before you go out. If you can win the league, that's your goal. But you're a wee team and you're playing against teams that's got a bigger budget for buying players, and you've got to weigh it up. But we never gave in, and we always beat.
So I heard that the week before the season, you spent the week in Mallorca and you landed back in Edinburgh on the morning.
I probably did, because that's sometimes when you forget you've got a family. I know football sometimes pays the wages, but you're only part-time, so I had a job too, so you get 2 weeks off. You've got to go with the family, and I was unfortunate that I left it a wee bit late, probably, and Chris they wouldn't be happy, but I told them I'd be back for the first game of the season. Didn't expect to be back the morning of the game. I managed, so it was fine.
So you didn't just want to miss a whole week of pre-season?
No, I actually trained. I never, even when I went abroad, I used to train myself. My father-in-law, I couldn't believe it, even when I was full-time with St Mirren, father-in-law said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning, going out and run up the hill," and where we used to stay, it was a big hill. I used to run up the hill, jog back down, run up the hill, back down, and father-in-law said, "What are you doing that for?" I said, "Well, you've got to be fit." I said, "Pre-season is a gutty, you just run you, and if you're no fit and no playing, you don't get money. You don't get appearance money and you don't get wages, so you've got to look after yourself." And I always helped since I was 9, and I played all these days right through my career. I made sure I was slim and ready for the season to start.
So you're balancing football with painting and decorating?
Well, I would say my painting and decorating, I wasn't really born with it, but football come first. I couldn't wait to get to training, because your day job that's your bread and butter, to be fair, but I didn't really like it either. I lasted a wee while longer than I thought, but I wouldn't like to go back to it either, painting and decorating. But football, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sign of things to come. So we started the 82-3 season quite strongly. Jim McQueen's the biggest name in Meadowbank story, who's joined at that point. So before Ricky Lawson comes in and Chris Robertson soon after on loan from Hearts. It's been obvious at that point that you're going to win promotion.
Well, I think there were 2 or 3 teams vying for it. I think ourselves and Beacon City were in for it. We always, as I say, we were always a fit team and worked well. And obviously, with new players coming in, you're going to make your chances better of winning something. So I would say, yeah.
And then approaching Christmas, you've mentioned him already, and he's one of the real legends of the early years at Meadowbank. John Jobson moved on at Christmas. What are you thinking when you're losing?
Big blow, because if somebody's scoring a lot of goals for you, hold the ball up, shoot anywhere, playing big asset. You've got to replace a Pogo. Yeah. He fell about, and he was a strong player for Meadowbank, and he was running at a brick wall, but he was a live wire. He could get himself booked and sent off within 5 minutes each, like getting a booking. And then 5 minutes later, he would get a red card because people would just wind him up and he would go. He just didn't like getting wound round. But he could score goals, yep. I like Pogo at the team too. I'm not spilling the beans on any of my club mates. What happens at the club stays at the club.
Mentioned a few of the guys from that team so far. Harry Dunn is obviously a big
team near enough. Mickey Lawson, as you say, Graham Mann, Tom Watty Boyd, Tom Henry, Adrian Stroke. It's a good squad. I mean, played together and just wanted to win. You started to get a wee bit greedy, because if you win 1 week, you beat 2. You want to win you win 1, and then you want to win another 2 or 3. So it was catching on between the whole squad there.
Absolutely. We're coming to the end of that 82-3 season. Didn't quite manage to win the title, but still won promotion. How do you reflect on the first couple of years at Meadowbank at that point? Is that a huge success? Are you thinking, wow, really, I can personally step up here? Or
You're in a better league, so you need to be on your mettle. Don't lose stupid goals. Keep it tight. Don't go down 2 or 3 nothing. Keep it tight. The longer the game goes 0-0, you've got a chance of surprising the team. Because we had Adrian Stroke and Sam Henry out wide, and the boys up front were always capable of goals. And myself and Watty coming up for corners and that, because we used to work in set pieces all the time and scored a few goals for them too. if you could get half an hour on the pitch after the athletics was finished, you were okay. But you had to play and work at them all, because their man strong could put them in near posts, always a near post, and you could flick. I could get a wee flick on, or Walter Boy went a wee flick on, and Jim Stewart played with him too. He was a centre half, and we were all good in here, so we worked at that training. I tell you, it came off a lot.
At the end of the 82-3 season,
Right.
you were voted as Player of the Year. Was it so really valuable getting that recognition from?
You never really think it is, but if you're going to a night out and that, you've got a chance, but your colleagues are picking you. It's but you've had a good season. No, it was never ever big-headed. You just played. We all played the same, and what I did is I come in and the ball was up in the air. I used to win it all the time, and if I let it go, you knew that manager would just be shouting at me, "Hey, you get winning it." So I won it, I won it 9 times out of 10 in the air, and on the deck I used to be. I was the quickest, but I always got there as quick as the striker, so I was not too bad on the ground either.
Watty Boy told me that
That's
you
right.
stand back and hope
What he did do that. Telling the truth, because as I say, Mr. Christie would be on my back if I didn't win the ball in the air. There was actually a game, I can't remember what game it was. What he said, "Can you let the ball go so I can get a wee kick at the ball?" I says, "What? He's watching." No. So me and Watty had a great understanding, but it meant Watty wasn't doing nothing. But he was a valued member of my team, and if I did make a mistake, I knew Watty Boyd was behind me, and he would sweep everything up. He used to sweep everything up. Hopefully I didn't really give him a chance. And that's maybe how I played so well, because I had the impact behind me. I knew if I let it go, Watty was there, and then you even got Jim McQueen behind that. So that's why I never let anything go. That's maybe how I got recognised, with just winning everything. Wholeheartedly, 90 minutes, just go and win everything.
First season up in the first division, you managed to avoid relegation.
Just the players we had were, I would say, in the same class as the league we were in. So I know we were in the league below the year before, but the step up, I think everybody stepped up. Because as I say, you're not wanting to go home every Saturday from getting beat. So that wasn't in any other vocabulary. So we'll work harder, we'll work for each other, and that's the way you get results. We did.
Chris Robertson ended up the top scorer.
He came and helped us out. He was good. Chris Robertson, yep. He'd hold it in, play in, and helped the midfielder too, because he held it in. The midfielder would go past him, they'd just lay it off, and he could score goals. But Chris could score goals.
At the other end of the pitch to you, we've got Adrian Sprott.
He was just happy to be playing. He had the freedom. He had take, so you would give him the ball out wide, and he would just take the full back on, and if it was a good day, he would keep taking the full back on, setting the strikers up, and he could have went higher too. I know I made it the higher later on, but so could Adrian. I know he went to Hamilton and that. You don't know, you just hope. You just play with who you're playing with, and just hopefully they vote for you.
So after staying up in the first division, did you have any other clubs sniffing around?
You never hear of them. I think the players are the last to know, eh? To be honest with you, I was pretty happy with our playing, and I had a good life, and the family came along, so I was okay with that. As I say, game by game, but you still wanted to win with Meadowbank. You still wanted to go on a Saturday and perform for the crowd too. They were loyal, and they came and watched us and cheering us, and wanted autographs after the game or your trip or whatever. It was really a good atmosphere, eh?
So in that 83-4 season, you had a couple of cup games against St Mirren. I think that
Definitely, that's what I've been told. Obviously, I went to St Mirren after that, because we played first game at Meadowbank when we drew them, and we drew at home, and second game was the Tuesday night or the Wednesday night. We had to go to Liverpool and went into extra. It was 1 each, I think, and I went into extra time, and we drew 2 each. So I was club captain, so we had to go in the centre circle, toss a coin for the third game to see where it would be played. I won the toss, and it was back at Meadowbank. And the first game we gave them a heck of a fright. The second game we should have won it. Liverpool gave them a heck of a fright. And the third game, I think we got beat 2-1 with a dubious penalty for the referee. I think that would be the making of me, because Mr. Frank McAvenny said, "I couldn't get by you," and that's why when I did sign full time with Mirren, Frank McAvenny says, "I couldn't get by you," so I tell the manager to play and by you.
Into the 84-85 season, second season in the first division. What are the kind of aspirations at that point?
Yeah.
Going to stay up again? It's going to be another struggle.
We knew what we were up against, but no, we always wanted to. You don't want to be doing there. You always want to fight higher to the league rather than the bottom of the league. We never ever thought we were going to go down. You never think that. Hear that, or you might not be there yourself at the end of the season, because if you're losing goals, the defence is fault, you would say, or some people know doing their job right. So you can always look back and say, right, I think we've done our job and we've stayed in the league, because as I say, other teams had a bigger budget than obviously us.
Yeah, so things didn't go so well in the league that year, but there was the memorable run of the league.
Happy days. I think we went to Arbroath and got beat 4-0 in the first leg, so it was a two-legged affair, so it kind of dampened the spirits of the boys a wee bit, because we thought we could go and maybe snatch a draw or do something not too disastrous so as we could come back, because the game wasn't at Meadowbank. If we kept it tight, it wasn't going to be at Meadowbank, it was at Tynecastle. So we're getting beat 4-0, it was a wee damper. So we had the TV on the bus going to the game. Obviously they followed the bus from Edinburgh right through to Arbroath and obviously all the way back. So it was a good atmosphere, but 4-0 was a wee bit deflating, because if we'd kept that tight, the second leg would have been better. But played the second leg at Tynecastle and we went 1-0 up. I thought, here we go, we could maybe pinch 2 or 3 goals and put it in the mixer a wee bit. I think a certain McCoy came on and scored with about 6 minutes to go or something, and we actually drew 1 each. But still a good result for Meadowbank Thistle against Glasgow Rangers. Doesn't matter where you play them, but it was a good result for us.
Not long after that period where you are on the move, what was your first indication?
I got a phone call right at the blue for Terry again, and they said, can you meet us in Edinburgh again? So I said, right, no bother. So I met him at lunchtime on the Thursday or the Friday, and he says, I've sold it for 30 grand, and I'm buying you dressing rooms for Meadowbank Stadium. Your money, so you better be signing with St Mirren today. And that's the kind of man he was. He was just forward with me, and as I say, I'm thankful for him, because it's a change in my life, going through time football for part-time football. I had to pack my painting and decorating job in, but I was quite happy to do so.
The things that I read from the time was that the day after you put your first game for St Mirren, you went back to training just to say goodbye to everyone.
That's right. The boys at the time, my mate, then, I mean, you get a camaraderie and you say who you're travelling with or who you're playing with. And I always wanted to do was thank them for the 3 or 4 seasons I had with them, because it meant a lot. And I'm going to, hopefully move on to better things, because I'm going full time. I signed a 2-year contract, so you don't know at the end of that, am I going to be good enough or am I not going to be good enough? Am I going to let it go? And then maybe the Meadowbank will come back in for me. So you're a bit thinking, but you always believe that you can do the business when you go to a new club. Because the manager said to me, Alec Miller said to me, he says, by the way, you're playing tomorrow, which I think it was the Thursday or the Friday I met him. I was playing against Dundee right on the Saturday. It was making of me too, because I say I was naturally fit and just training every day. Loved it.
Brilliant. I mean, was there any apprehension going full time when you're 27?
You had told me I was going to get 10 years. When I signed, I was a bigger finger off, but I'd signed a 2-year contract. The main thing was, are you going to be playing? What happens? Your appearance money, right? So you had to talk about your wages, appearance money, bonuses. That was new to me. Well, no compared to Meadowbank, because as a wee club, you're only on a part-time wage and weird bonuses, but a full-time club, you wanted to start, you mean to go on. So when I got told I was playing, you want to stay in that team, because there's nothing worse than getting an injury or anything. You come out of that team, your appearance money and your bonus money goes out the window, so you just be on a basic wage. So I never wanted that. I just wanted to bed myself in, and I did, and played quite a lot of games the first season. So I would say it was a big step up, because when you're part-time, you're training just a Tuesday and a Thursday, but when you're training every day with better players too, I'm not trying to be cheeky in Meadowbank players, but playing with better players that do better things on the ball, first things I had to do was go and get new suits and everything, because you're wearing suits to every game. I know Meadowbank hang you too, but you could go to functions during the week, so you had to be suited and booted. That was the format of the club if you were representing the club. Some tie or smart and casual. Well, smart, but you do want to put a mark against the club. But full time was great, training every day, and I practiced my heading. Useless with my left foot, but my right foot was no bad. It could take care of me.
Can you tell me about the horror of Hammerby?
I was at a question and answer in St Mirren, and somebody said, what happened to Hammerby game? And I actually told the boy, see, when we lost the goal, it was actually my fault because the ball was up in the air. I headed it, but I didn't head it very far. And I was going to go for it again. I said to Stevie Clark, the Scotland manager now, Stevie, get up. And Stevie went up and it just dropped to the boy and he just put it right in the bottom corner and we ended up getting beat 2-1 that night. And I've never felt right about that. If anybody wants to talk about Hammerby, I'd try and distract them for it because I actually blame myself. No many times you do that, I blame myself for the defeat and going out of Europe because of only 2 or 3 times I've been in Europe, and it's great to get away and just relax. And all the boys get together and that. So I blame myself for the Hammerby game. So I try not to mention it's a bad day.
I mean, it wasn't all bad. You're involved in the Scottish Cup run, missed the final. How are you feeling?
Me and Paul Chalmers scored in the quarter-finals at Resort and we won 2-0. We scored the 2 goals. I had an illness and I couldn't get out of my bed for the semi-final when we played Hearts. I remember if I went to the game. I think I went to the game, but I was loaded with a cold and I was lifeless. I couldn't have played that day, put it that way. So he played the boys David Winnett stayed with me, and obviously they won. So when it came to the cup final, I was fit. Played against Hamilton at Hamilton the week before it, and we lost a stupid goal. So I think manager blamed me, but I was only 1 booking away from missing the final. So if I'd have brought the boys down and gave away a penalty, I knew I was going to get booked, so I would have missed the final anyway. So they kind of blamed me for the goal, and was the one in the semi-final. They played his semi-final team, and that's how I missed out in the final too. I'd played 40 league games out of 46 that year, so I think I only missed 6 league games out of the whole year. So I was really, really gutted, and had my mum and dad actually had a full 45-seater going for Grangemouth and Stenhousemuir to the cup final. I says, you can't no go, so they still went to the game, but it was gut-wrenching because I knew on the Friday night I was pulled to the manager's office and got told I wasn't there because you only had 13 players. I was called to his room and got told I wasn't even in the squad. It was a real gutty for me. As you would, you want to play in every game, but cup final, I thought I was good enough to play in the final, but they won the cup, so I can't really complain. Going to start right back, there's some legends, You're just saying you're playing the same team. Stevie Clark, now Mark Fulton, and Ryan Gallagher up front, Jimmy Rooney, Gardner Pierce, Ian Scanlon, Peter Weir. He had a great time. It was a pleasure to play with these kind of boys because I've kind of upped my game too, but when you see the likes of the players and then Stevie Archibald actually came, and we Victor for Spain, he actually came too when we were playing St Mirren in the Scottish Cup. The calibre of player was right up there at St Mirren. Don't know if it was the captain or wee Abercrombie was the captain, so we had a cracking team.
You worked under 3 different managers at St Mirren. Can you tell me a bit about Alex Miller?
He was a hard man to go on with that, though. He kind of helped. He kind of stayed behind for heading practice or shooting practice or whatever. I was always practice my heading. I think I'll get dementia later on, because I like just winning the ball in the air, and that was my forte. So I used to stay behind and practice on my heading there. They gave me a chance, and that's the first season I was there. You don't know if you're going to play or no play or play. And obviously the confidence in me, seeing me playing 3 games against St Mirren with Meadowbank. So the confidence in me, you're playing today. So what you do is if you want to keep playing, keep winning, it says you just got to keep a high standard. So the trust was from the manager and assistant managers for me was great. It was a more laid back
What was
I'd say Alec Miller was a wee bit hyper compared to Alec Miller, but he had a sidekick in Jimmy Bowen, so he was a hard man to get on with. He loved the young kids, so I wasn't a young kid at St Mirren when I was there. So he liked Paul Lambert and he liked Davy Winnie and he liked all the young boys and would give them a wee hug and all that. So he fired up the young boys. Alex Smith kind of took a back seat, but he yeah, tactics and all that. So he was the manager, but Jimmy Bowen sometimes took most of the training and was teeing us up and all that because he didn't like if you didn't win a 50-50 tackle, he would say, come on. So he was that kind of player too because he played up front and he was a robust player, so and he put his cell about. So we had to put our cell about or he didn't like you.
Your last couple of seasons were working under Tony Fitzpatrick. What was it like having someone go from being a teammate to your manager?
They were trying to do what every manager wanted to do, but I don't think he got the response from the players as much as Alex Smith or Alec Miller would. Frank McGarvey and Tony took over, but I didn't feel there was the know-how to win or tactically aware to get us back where we should be. And I think we went to Parkhead and won 3-0, and they were in cars because I think we used to go with cars to Parkhead, and then Tony says, no, we're going with the bus. So we went with bus to Parkhead, there and back. So it was a new format that we try to stamped in on the players there. But as a player, he was superb. Tony was a great midfield player. I just didn't think he did was as good a manager.
So your time and his time at St Mirren came to an end.
The time when I left, I never had an option. The Gordon man that used to play with Rangers up front, he came in and he put me aside and said, I've now got a space for you. If you want to leave, Falkirk's interested in you, he says, because I'll not be playing you. That's not very nice as a new manager coming in and says he doesn't want you when you've been there 7 years. So I had to weigh up my options, and Falkirk's local to Grangemouth, so I said I would talk to him. It was Jim Jeffries, so I went to talk to Jim Jeffries, and obviously I left St Mirren. Not in a cloud because 7 years really, really good. It's just the way it happened too. You didn't have a chance. I went to Falkirk and played the last 11 games of the season, and you didn't get a chance to say cheerio to the St Mirren boys unless you're going to play against them in one game. But I went to Falkirk, played 11 games, undefeated, and won the league that season, so it was obviously a good move for me. So
what was it like working with Jim Jeffries?
I've met him a couple of times. He says, you're about the best signing I've ever had, because a lot of people said that when I went to 34, I think, 34, 35, when I went to Falkirk, and a lot of people said, why we signed that boy Godfrey? He's too old. And after we won the league, I just says, well, too old to win the league then. I says, I came there, I says, I was full time, naturally, want to win the ball, and supporters actually turned on my side. A couple of them didn't like me, but they all turned because we won the league, and they realised it wasn't as bad, or I wasn't as bad as they thought. Because it means nothing. You're fit and you're reliable. But Jim Jeffrey says you were reliable, you could win the ball on the deck, in the air, and you fitted in. As soon as you came, you fitted in, and I just wanted to play you every game. So it worked for a wee predicament because Airbus came in for me and they offered more money for signing, but I think they trained at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and I didn't like training in the morning of a game. So I actually stayed with Falkirk for the next season and a half, I think it was.
So you get a call from Mickey Lawson, your former teammate, who's now taking over as manager at Arbroath.
He just phoned me because the manager's always talking to know what's happening. So Mickey must have knew I was getting released, and he says, I'm looking for a person a big centre half just like you. And I was trying to negotiate over the phone, but I would do it. And I told him what I was looking for. So he says, right, we'll go up to Arbroath and talk to the chairman. I said, right, okay. He said, just tell me when. So it was one Thursday night, minibus was there, went up with a minibus up to Arbroath. He said, right, we'll go in and talk to the chairman then. Well, son, and the chairman says, right, what are you looking for? Money-wise. So I told him. He says, what? He says, no, no chance. He says, Mickey, you've not even spoke to him. So I walked back out of the room and just watched the training. So next again day, I get a phone call. He says, the chairman wants to see you. He's going to agree to a deal. So talked on the phone, and I went back up and I signed for Arbroath. I told a wee white lie because I was on wages at Falkirk and I just added some money onto it and signed for a month because the chairman obviously had money, so he was quite happy to sign me for a month. And then my month was up and I signed for another month. And then at the end of that 2 months, Mickey Lawson was getting the sack and he phoned me. He says, "You want to come up to Arbroath?" I says, "Who's coming in?" He says, "Danny McGrain." I says, "No." I says, "Just terminate my contract." So I was only there for 2 months. Well, actually, that 2 months, I think we won it about 5 or 6 games. And it was no problem. Mickey made you easy. Just go out and play. There's no hassle. And it was all right. It was a bit more windier than Meadowbank or whatever because it's right next to the water.
You don't get much time to think, and Terry Christie's after you again.
Mickey and Terry were at Meadowbank, and Mickey must have phoned Terry and told them I was available, and I get a phone call for Terry Christie, and he just says, "How do you fancy coming to St Mirren?" I says, "Well, it depends what the terms are." I says, "Obviously, I was played full time with Falkirk, been to Arbroath for 2 months," I says, "and I was on full-time wages at Arbroath." We kind of came to an agreement with what we could get or whatever. Me, Terry says, "I'll try and get you as much as I can." I says, "But I'll be honest with you, I'll be near what you're looking for." I says, "Well, just try your best. And if there's no other coming in for you, you just got to listen to the manager and weigh things up." So that was me back to, as you say, back to St Mirren on my doorstep, playing with my 2 local clubs, Falkirk and St Mirren.
Stenhousemuir had this famous cup run while you were there, and they beat Aberdeen. But again, a big cup match, and you managed to miss it.
2 centre backs, and
Yeah.
Georgia had a wee leg pain, so Terry got us on the Thursday night before the game on the Saturday. He says, "I'm not joking, one of you better be playing," and I'm another in the bench. So I says, "Well," and we're on a good bonus for to beat Aberdeen. So I says to Jordy, I says, "Jordy, I've no chance of playing. You'll need to play." I says, "I'm quite happy going on the bench, but don't you come off injured," because I was injured. I'm seriously, I don't think I could have went on for 5 minutes or even 10 minutes. So by chance, they actually put me in the bench and we won, and I got my bonus money. But Jordy had a great game. I was just cheering them all game, so you wouldn't come off. But no, it was a great result. Because they were full time and you're playing a part-time team, you're expected to beat them. They just thought they could come and sort their stuff and hang me, but we knew we could get in about them. And but players like Miller Matterson, he was up front, he could play and run and pace, but he fell about, and then Tam Steele scored the 2 goals. But an atmosphere was tremendous. Graham Armstrong was there too. Well, I played, Mickey Lawson was there. I played with me and settled in fine. And as I say, it's my local club, so it was no bother going there. And as I say, Terry had a good team and with a good cup run and done well in the league a couple of seasons too.
So at that point, Stenhousemuir was like Meadowbank old boys. I mean, you've got Graham Armstrong, Stevie Logan, Davy Roseborough, Adrian Sprott. How did the atmosphere compare to Meadowbank?
You know your aspirations. You want to do, as I say, for the people, the supporters, you want to be as good as you can be. You want to be as high up in the league as you could be. So, as I say, you've mentioned the people there. They were all good players. And there are more players, Jimmy Fisher, Miller Matheson, and Tom Steele, and the goalies. We had a great squad there too. So, you've got to try and do the best you can, and we certainly did. We gave a few teams a right good games.
I mean, your time at Stenhousemuir come to an end.
I had a chance to sign for Linlithgow or Bowness. I went back to Linlithgow because I had happy times there the first time. I actually went to Bathgate Junior and played with Bathgate Junior. Willie Hill was the manager up there, and Jordy Watson, ex-Falkirk goalkeeper, he was the assistant coach. So I actually went up there for a season and a half. Up there, we had a good team up at Bathgate too. And I think I was there a year and a half, and then all they were wanting to do was try and win the Scottish Cup. So I think we got to a quarter-final when I was there. 2 or 3 years later, they actually won the Scottish Cup under Willie Hill. So I was there watching them that day, cheering them on. And then I went to Socky Junior 2. It was a Willie Urban that used to play with him. He was the manager, and I was the assistant manager at Socky. The two of them both played. Although we were getting older, we've done quite well with Socky too. I think we got to quarter-final stage and I got injured. And I was fuming because I thought we could have won the Scottish Cup that year. But we actually went to Auchinleck in the last scene. We fancied the chances, and we went down to Auchinleck and beat them. And then in the quarter-final, we went away from home, and I think we got beaten extra time in the quarter-final. So well, I wasn't happy because I thought we could have won the junior that year. I have certainly been about that. I was feeling it at the end because your hamstrings in your calf, and it was my Achilles. My Achilles was killing me now and again. I tried to play as long as I could, so I had a good career. So I think I was about 40. What a life.
Now, Otty Boyd tells me that since hanging up your boots, you've become a very keen bowler.
When I moved to Grangemouth, I lived in St Mirren. When I got married, I moved down to Grangemouth and I became a member of the Grangemouth Railway Bowling Club. And you put your name up for ties and keep playing. So maybe after, I remember 3 or 4 seasons, you get into it. It's called the Gents Championship. You win a game, you always keep going. So I eventually won it the first time. So now I've actually won it 4 times, and it's not an easy competition to win because you're coming against the best and they all want to beat you. So I've actually won the championship 4 times, and I think I've won the pair, triples, and numerous more competitions. I can't play a bit, yeah. But as I say, I quite like golf too, but I've never took up either because I think I could hit a good ball, but it's expensive to play too. So
You do play a bit, and
I've just let that last stick to my balls. So on the level anyway, you just need to stand and throw them. At least you're exerting your back or your swing or anything when you're playing golf.
St Mirren inducted you into their Hall of Fame in 2022. Is that your proudest achievement?
Yeah. Right out of the blue, one day I got a phone call to Campbell Kennedy, and he phoned me and he says, St Mirren want to put you in the Hall of Fame. To be honest with you, just like you phoned me, I just said, what? I didn't really take it all in. So the next again day, he asked me, and I never really gave him an answer. So the next again day, I had to phone him back. I said, sorry for saying that. I didn't realise what you meant, and I would love to be put in the Hall of Fame for St Mirren. Because yesterday, I said, I didn't realise what you meant. I said, but now I know. I said, I would love. He says, right, a minute people want to go. So I kind of told my son, who supported me all my year, all his days. He says, Dad, you're not going yourself. So I actually had a table of 16 at the Norman Hotel, and there were 500 supporters supposed to be there. And I had a table of 16 with my sister and partner, my brother partner, and my wife, and my son and daughter, and for the night. So they just shouted my name, and they had to go up on the stage, and I got interviewed by Paul Lakey in the Sun paper. So Paul Lakey, his first words were, when you played, you were my hero. And I kind of just broke down with the words. I just couldn't believe it. I was standing on a stage with a man that actually told me I was his hero when I played with St Mirren. It was a brilliant night, and when I come off the stage, I just come down and see the amount of autographs and photos, and it was just tremendous. A good job I was saying, because we had a few Kerbucks and talking about good times and that. The family was all there, but we were staying at the Norman Hotel, and I just can't remember too much about it later that night or that morning. Campbell Kennedy done brilliant for me. As you say, he gave me a hat, he gave me a medal. I actually put it around behind me because I didn't get a medal in 1987. So it was a made-up medal. I've got it in the house. I've got a hat for the Hall of Fame, and I've got a figure for 1987. And I actually won 3 Player of the Year that year too. Because at the time I was no well for the semi-final against Hearts. They had the big one, the big Player of the Year at the Town Hall. I wasn't able to go, and lo and behold, I won the Player of the Year there, and I got a Rolex watch handed to me following Saturday the game. I believe it. I wasn't even there, and that was actually Player of the Year with loads of them at the Town Hall, and I wasn't even there. So that was a disappointment, but tremendous. Yeah. That's it. You could have told me I was going to get 10 years full time at football when I was 27. I would never believe it. I just look at it back. I've had a good life. I've got my wife, I've got my family. Always my support. My dad and my mum used to come to the football. My dad, Rona's dad, used to be a part of the Thistle supporter. He said, can I come to a couple of games? I said, I'll not hold it against you being a part of the Thistle supporter, but when we play part of the Thistle, they better not beat us. No, family's always supported me in my football and that, and they're great. And even when I played bowls, my mum, I got to the final at Ayr, And that's a big trophy. My mum was getting a bit frail in her age and that before she went into home, and she actually seen me winning 4 games of bowls that year. I got beat in the final. It was great to hear your family, and they've always supported me.
Speaking of your family, I do want to say a quick thank you to your son Stephen, who helped me arrange this interview. Just to let the listener know that we weren't able to use computers for this. I did need to call you on your landline.
I'm an awkward customer at the best of times, but they tell anybody. My son, I see, was the mascot. I was a club captain, and Terry Butcher was a club captain. So Terry Butcher actually gave him a pennant, and the referee tossed the coin. And the referee gave my son the coin, and also he still got the coin and the pennant for the Rangers that day at Arbroath. And actually, I think we drew that day too. I don't think we got beat. One of the times I do remember is when we went to Arbroath for Falkirk. I scored in 45 seconds, and my mum and dad was at a game, and they never even seen the goal because they were late in getting in because my comp tickets, somebody was trying to steal them, and my mum and dad eventually got in, but they missed my goal, and it was a screamer for 25 yards, and actually finished the game 1-1. Mo Johnson actually scored the equaliser with about 10 minutes to go. No, my football life was great, every team. And one thing I didn't do, I didn't argue with many people, because you never know what club you're going back to. Like I did, I went back to Linlithgow, and you never know what's in front of you.
I've had a listener questioning for you. Aaron Fraser would like to know how you maintained such a wonderful moustache, and have you still got it?
I have not got my moustache. Actually, I used to say about that. I used to get called Basil at St Mirren, but that's between the supporters and me, because one night, that 1987, the pub was called the Wee Barrel, and me and my son actually drove through and took me and a couple of pints that night too. But we went into the bar, and we went to the 2 bits to the bar. So if you go left and then you come right around and then you go to the next one, you've got to go to the right. And when I went into the place, because I had the Mauser, beer mat stuck on their nose as if a moustache with a beer mat. So I was kind of just, what the hell are they doing? Yeah, what did? And then I got it, so I got right round the bar. I had come in the other side, and it was the same again. It was pub with mob, and that's what it was. They had the beer mats on their nose, come out with my dash, and just try to take the pan out of me. It worked.
Thank you very much for your time, Peter.
No problem. I just hope you can finish this book and I'll buy it. No, when you told me that, it's unbelievable. Surely the end product's going to be great. And me being an ex-Meadowbank player, I would like to see that book getting published. So the players that I played with should be too. Because you're kind of bringing what we started out into fruition now. And we appreciate you trying to do that for that day. So, especially when you said you haven't even seen Meadowbank and you're claiming the token that. That's a lot to dedicate. Thank you yourself, and you're doing all your research and that. No Meadowbank players actually said that to you. I used to be the captain, so I'll be the spokesman. I tell you, you're doing a great job. And long may it continue. I got to have your own goal to try and finish the job, so hopefully you can do it.
Thank you. I hope to meet your expectations.
Okay. Right, Morgan, you take care. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you so much again to Peter for spending his time speaking to me. I hope you enjoyed all his stories and talking about his time with Meadowbank especially. Coming up in the next few weeks, we'll have some group discussions, an interview with Lee Bailey and another with John Jobson. To keep up to date with what we've got planned, you can find us on X and Instagram, Meadowbank This, or email meadowbankthis@gmail.com. This is the Meadowbank Thistle Podcast. I'm Morgan Knock, and for now, it's goodbye.